Alright, welcome back everyone to another video. So today I'm going to be starting a new series on my YouTube channel dealing with my ghost collection. And part 1 is going to deal with Opus Eponymous era as well as the demo that is associated with it. Now I'm going to start out with a few bootlegs, and the reason for that is because the genuine copies of the original demo tape from 2010 are next to impossible to find because of the ridiculously low amount of copies that are out there. So very difficult to find. Pretty much the only way that's even available to get it is bootleg. So for that reason, I'm going to show you this one first of all. This is the Early Rituals, which is one of the very first ghost bootlegs that ever came out in 2011. It features 3 tracks, just like the original demo tape from 2010. And those 3 tracks are Ritual, Prime Mover, and Death Knell. There was also a 4th one that was included in the recording session, but they didn't put it on the demo and instead put it on the Elizabeth 7-inch. So that's why a lot of bootlegs and the original demo tape don't feature Elizabeth on there, because they wanted to have like a single to put it out on. Now this bootleg, the Early Rituals, comes in mainly 3 different formats. 2 of them are on white vinyl and 1 of them is on black vinyl. So this is the black vinyl edition. Believe it or not, the black vinyl edition is actually harder to find and more expensive to get, because I would say it's because of the back print. Now the back print doesn't have music, but it's just like a sort of a picture disc, blank picture disc, and I just think the color scheme, the black and the blue Papa Emeritus, just looks really badass, and I think it fits the album concept a little bit better than the white vinyl edition portrayed it as. So I think that's really why it's more sought after. I think a lot of people agree that it just looks a lot better. And I'll show you what I mean in a second, because I actually do have a white vinyl edition here. Believe it or not, it seems like the white vinyl edition jacket looks a little bit different from the black one. I don't know if the camera's going to pick up this slight color variation, but this one's the white one and this one's the black one. So I'll go ahead and show you the white one now. It looks pretty much the same except for that little variation I pointed out. The white vinyl edition came in 2 different variations. So first of all, it comes on white vinyl right there, and the back has the screen print. Now this one has a red and a white Papa, and the other one has a blue and a white Papa. I think that's really why this one's a little bit cheaper and easier to find, is because, in my personal opinion, even though it looks cool, it doesn't look as cool as the other one. So I think that is probably why that is. As far as prices on these go, the white vinyl edition is a much cheaper option, much more affordable, at around $40. That's usually what it goes for when you find it. The black one is a lot more expensive to get, and it usually runs around $80 to $90, which is quite a fair bit for 3 songs actually, and for a bootleg. You know, it is actually quite pricey. What can I say? But for the diehard fans of Ghost, I really do recommend getting a bootleg copy of the demo. These are of course vinyl editions, but they've also bootlegged it on cassette. Now the cassette version I really do like a lot. I got it on Hell's Headbangers for $8, so it's actually quite affordable. It's also not that hard to find either. Here it is. What I like so much about this bootleg cassette is that it actually does look quite similar to the original press, but it also has a repress feel to it. And I like that because, especially for the world of demo tapes, I just hate when, you know, represses come out and they look a lot like the original demo tape, because it's very hard as it is to tell what is real and what is not. So I like that they kept the spirit of the original demo tape intact, but there's also no confusion as to what version you've got. That's why I like the repress feel to this. You can tell just by, you know, touching it and feeling it, the materials and that sort of thing. Now, unlike the other bootleg editions of the demo tape, as well as the original demo tape itself, this one actually comes with Elizabeth, the demo version of Elizabeth that features on the 7-inch, which is great because a lot of people, don't have access to that song. So it actually is quite nice to get a hold of. It also sounds really good, apart from the fact that it looks good. So I really, really do recommend getting this one for even your average everyday Ghost fan because, it's easy to find and it's cool to have. So I do recommend this one. As I said, it's not that expensive. I would say that this demo, musically speaking, is just really, really fantastic. Even though it sounds different from the one on Opus Eponymous, it still sounds very nice, even though it has a more raw production. And of course, as we all know, musically speaking, it's just really, really fantastic. Ritual, Elizabeth, Prime Mover, Death Knell, just some of the best tracks on Opus Eponymous, really. So I really, really do recommend it. Can't recommend it enough. Ghost demo tape. I know some newer fans might not know that they even have a demo tape, but if you haven't heard it, please go listen to it. It sounds really, really good. Alright, as I promised, we're going to get into some really good original pieces here. And I can think of no better way to start this out than with this release, because this release in the history of Ghost, I would say, is absolutely legendary. It's their very first appearance on vinyl, indeed on any format really. Their first single from 2010. This one is Elizabeth. The single Elizabeth. Now, this one, it comes in 4 different colors officially. There's been bootlegs out there, so please be careful when you buy this. The bootleg has like a picture disc edition, a white vinyl edition, and a few really ridiculous looking ones like a red with no label on it, and I think there was also a clear with red spots. I don't know, it's just they all look freaking weird. If it looks like a bootleg, it probably is a bootleg. But this one, the original press, the genuine copies, they come in clear red vinyl, red with black swirls, and the most common edition, which is the one I've got here, is the black vinyl edition. Now what's cool about my copy is that I managed to get a couple of nameless schools as well as Papa Emeritus to sign it. So I think that's actually really quite nice. On the back is the lyrics to both of the songs that are on here, which is Elizabeth on the A side and Death Knell on the B side. As I mentioned, these are both demo tracks, so they do not sound like the ones on Opus Eponymous. The label that put this out is, I think, a German label, and they're called Iron Pegasus Records. At the time of its release, it sold out really, really quickly on Iron Pegasus site, but then soon afterwards, Rise Above put some on their website as well, but even those went really quick. So as I mentioned, black vinyl looks very, very nice, especially with the red label on there. And this is just such a beautiful piece to own. Arguably my favorite 7-inch that I own, definitely. Now, the thing about this 7-inch is that not only is it very hard to come across now, even the black one is kind of a chore to get now, but I think another thing that sort of stops people from buying this is its price. Now, the black vinyl edition is easily the most affordable one that you can get. Usually runs around $250 or more. Now I know that sounds like a lot of money, but I say affordable because the other editions, like the clear and especially the clear and the red, those sell for like in the quadruple digits. We're talking like big cash. We're talking like $1,000 plus. I think one on eBay came out a few months ago, and that was like ended at like $1,500. So I know that $250 sounds like a lot, but if you're gonna get this 7-inch, I would definitely, if you can afford, if you have the disposable income, you just have $1,500 laying around, yeah, go for it, get the red one. But like, for most of us, the more feasible option is, of course, the black vinyl edition. beautiful copy that I've got here. I'm just so stoked that it's signed. And it's just a very, very nice piece to own. If you are a die-hard Ghost collector, I really, really do recommend getting this one. It's just a very stunning, looks very stunning in person. Very nice piece. Elizabeth by Ghost. One that just speaks for itself. Now we're going to get into Opus Eponymous here, and we're going to start out actually with a couple of first presses. The first one I'm going to show you is easily the hardest to find version of Opus Eponymous there is out there. It's just very, very hard to find and very hard to afford. So this one is the first press deluxe edition box set of Opus Eponymous, and it's got the logo on the front there. A lot of people haven't seen the spine, so I'll go ahead and show you. It just says Ghost Opus Eponymous Deluxe Edition. So there you go. Nothing on the back, really, except for a few words like information, as well as limited to 300 copies on the back. That's what it states on the back. And so I'll go ahead and pull out what's in here. I gotta admit, for a box set, this actually isn't very interesting because usually box sets come with a shit ton of things. But I will say that anyway, I'm very happy with what comes in here anyway. First of all, it comes with a patch, a logo patch. The camera is not going to pick this up, but what's very cool about this logo patch is that it's actually shiny in person. It's just very, very stunning in person. It's also very large, if I put my hand next to it, it's just about as big as my hand. So it's actually quite large. I really do wish that they had done these patches apart from, the box set, because then I wouldn't feel guilty using it. But yeah, it's just a very, very friggin' nice patch. I believe what makes this version so sought after, though, is that it actually includes the very, very first Ghost poster that ever existed. And it is freaking large, let me tell you. I mean, this is probably... I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get it all on the camera, but this is easily the largest poster I own. It's just ginormous. But yeah, it looks really, really cool. And as I mentioned, it is the very first Ghost poster that was ever made. So pretty much as far as the editions go with the box set, that's pretty much it. It comes with the slipcase box, it comes with the poster and the patch, and it comes with the LP. But the LP pretty much looks the same as any other regular edition of Opus Eponymous, really. Just comes in the normal gatefold sleeve that we all know and love. On the back is a very cool artwork with the track listing. And inside of the gatefold is lyrics as well as a crucifix. And the first press runs in a few different colors, such as clear, green with black splatter, and a few others. But the Die Hard box set comes in a black vinyl edition. Nice 180 gram black vinyl. And I pulled it out because it looks really, really nice condition wise. Probably unplayed, in fact. Now, this album is just very, very amazing to me, and I'm very lucky and happy to have such a very nice, very rare, sought-after version of this album. I also like that I managed to get Pop Emeritus and a few nameless schools to sign it. And the price for this one really is not cheap. It's actually one of the most expensive Ghost pieces you can probably buy. On Discogs, there's a few listed, and I think the cheapest one is around like $450. But that being said, these are of course asking prices. And as far as what I've seen this go for in a auction in the auction setting, it's usually runs for around $350 or so. But sealed copies are the ones that are really, really very sought after, very expensive. Those are usually around $500 plus easily. But yeah, I'm very lucky to have this in such good condition. Rise Above actually did a very shit job packaging these back in the day, and so a lot of these boxes actually came damaged. Okay, so the next version of Opus Eponymous that I'm going to show you is actually also a first press, but unlike the other one, this one's just a normal gatefold jacket version. So this is Opus Eponymous, and apart from it being a first press, what's special about this one is that it has a Papa Emeritus II signature, also signed by the entire band, so that's cool. Now, Papa Emeritus II signatures are getting a lot more harder to find and come across. Seems like most people just decided they're going to keep it, so, you know, not a lot of them in the market or anything like that. But yeah, it's actually very nice that I have one. This one was signed outside of their bus in San Diego in 2014, so a couple years old now. Pretty much looks the same as, you know, the other gatefolds that I just showed you with the crucifix inside, in the lyrics as well. What's different about this one is that this one, like most versions of Opus Eponymous, comes on colored vinyl. This one I think is the best color for the first press. This one is a solid blue vinyl color, and I just think it fits the album art very, very nicely. So I do recommend getting this one. Like I said, limited to 400 copies. Now this version is getting increasingly harder to find these days. And it's also getting more expensive on Discogs. It's usually pretty hard to find it for under $100. But I think I got this copy a few years ago for around $70. It used to not be that expensive, really. Not compared to what it is now, but very quickly becoming harder and harder to find, and I'm very lucky to have a Papa Emeritus II signature on this one. So I do recommend this one. First press solid blue vinyl, and the last edition I'm going to show you is actually the picture disc edition, which, even though this one's very, very common, this is one of the most common editions of Opus Eponymous that you can possibly get. It was released September of 2011, and it's considered really to be the very first vinyl edition for the United States as far as Opus Eponymous goes, because all the gatefold ones were in the UK or Europe, so pretty much the only way to get, you know, or back then anyway, the only way you could get Opus Eponymous on vinyl was to either get it imported or to get this one, if you were in the United States anyway. What's cool about this one anyway is that it has a picture of the band, so that's actually very nice. Featuring their more later look, because they had different robes before this, but this one has an upgraded Nameless Schools version, I guess. It also is signed by a few Nameless Schools on the back, as well as Papa Emeritus III. So that's cool. The picture disc itself, I gotta be honest, it doesn't sound really all that bad. I know a lot of people complain about whooshing sounds with picture disc and all that, but this one sounds very nicely, very quiet. It's just very nicely done. It also is co-released by Metal Blade Los Angeles along with Rise Above Records from the UK. So yeah, it's a very, very nice picture disc. As I said, very common one to get a hold of. Usually sells for around $20 on Discogs. Pretty easy to find, pretty easy to come across. Recently they did a European version of this exact picture disc, so it looks actually very quite similar to this, the European one that just came out recently. But this one is definitely a first press for the United States from 2011, back when I got it. And for those of you who don't know, if you pre-ordered this on Metal Blade back in the day, you also got a t-shirt with this picture of the band, which is nowadays a very rare t-shirt, which is kind of funny because the record itself isn't rare, but that t-shirt is rare, very hard to come across, indeed. So yeah, that's Opus Eponymous. As we all know, musically speaking, Opus Eponymous is fucking amazing. Every song on there is very, very just mind-blowing. And so for those of you, if you're watching this and for some reason you're not familiar with Ghost and you're you're just wondering what the hell is he blamming on and on about, just start with this one. Do yourself a favor and listen to this. Pop this on the turntable, put it on YouTube, whatever the hell you decide to do. Just listen to it. I really, really do recommend it. It's one of my favorite albums of all time, Opus Eponymous by Ghost. Released October of 2010. So yeah, that's all I'm going to show you this time around. That's all my Opus Eponymous stuff on vinyl. And I hope you guys enjoyed me babbling on and on about Ghost. I will be back in the future with part 2, which is probably going to be the Infestissimum era. And I'll catch you all later. Goodbye.